They're back to being the Lions, and this time that's a good thing. The Lions are right back to playing the type of football that made them one of the league's most exciting teams last year. And that means letting their talent run wild and playing fearless football, so let's talk about this. But a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community. Also, drop your comments below and we might read them in a future episode. Let's go. Okay, so this article is from NBC Sports and it was written by one of our favorites, Rowan Nadkarni. And the premise is that yes, the Lions are back to being the Lions, and this time that's a good thing. Now, as many of us were saying, there were questions about how the Lions would fare after losing their offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator to head coaching positions. The worrying was that those assistants may have been the difference makers in the system. But through 2 weeks, the offense sputtered, and then they got embarrassed at home in Week 1 against the Packers. But then the Lions went into Chicago and put up 52 points, and then on Monday night, they went into Baltimore and beat the Ravens 38-30. Now the key part here is that the Lions played the brand of football that we've come to associate with this team because of Dan Campbell. And that's physicality, toughness, and aggression. They don't shy away from situations. In fact, they embrace them. And Dan Campbell talked about this after the game. He said, "I just thought it was an outstanding team effort. Man, I was proud of the players. I was proud of the coaches. It's just a huge win. They had 2 long touchdown drives, 98 yards and 95 yards. That's exactly the type of stuff that we saw from the Lions last season. And they converted all 3 of their 4th down attempts, which is big. The Lions don't think twice about going for it. And Dan Campbell has their full trust, and the players trust each other. So this is not shocking, but this team can be dangerous. And remember, this team returned 17 starters from last season, and they were 9-8 and won the NFC North. This is a team that looks like a contender to me, especially with the NFC being as wide open as it is. And to be fair, the NFC North is up for grabs as well. Now, nobody will confuse the Lions with the Kansas City Chiefs, but these guys don't need to be mistaken for anybody. They're gonna do what they do, and in doing so, they're gonna give opposing teams fits. Here's what I love about the Lions, because we always talk about Dan Campbell and his tough, physical style of play. Here's what I love about this team. This team is built for the playoffs. You know, you always hear teams say, "Hey, we want to peak at the right time." Well, the Lions have already peaked. This is the type of team that doesn't care about weather. They don't care where they are. They're gonna do what they do. And what they do is hard-nosed, old-school, physical football, and that is extremely valuable in January. And I think that's why the Lions, despite getting embarrassed in the first week, we should still like this team. And if they're clicking on all cylinders, they are really tough to beat. And so far, they've shown that into consecutive weeks. Now, you heard Dan Campbell say that this is a huge win, and he's right. When you look at the schedule that the Ravens had coming into this game, they're like, oh, man, they haven't been challenged yet. They're 2-0, they haven't played anybody. Well, guess what? The Lions are legit, and this was a huge win. Now, the Ravens were missing some key pieces, but at the end of the day, you still got to go beat the team that's in front of you. And the Lions certainly did that. Now, what I loved about this game, too, and Dan Campbell talked about it, was the complete game. Look, you never want to rely on your defense to win you a football game. And sometimes your offense can't win you a football game either. You need all 3 phases firing on all cylinders. And this team got that for the first time on Monday night. Offensively, they started slow, but once they got rolling, they couldn't be stopped. And defensively, they were lights out in the first half. They were physical, they were disruptive, and they made the Ravens uncomfortable. Yes, the Ravens made some adjustments, and Lamar Jackson was able to find some success. But ultimately, the Lions won the turnover battle, and that's always going to keep you in games. And special teams were solid, so they got a huge win on the road against a top-tier AFC opponent. And the key for the Lions is staying humble, staying hungry, and continuing to improve. Now, obviously, you want to ignore the noise. There's going to be a lot of hype around this team now. People are probably going to jump on the bandwagon. You got to tune all that out. And based on what we've seen, the Lions seem like they're capable of handling that. They're playing good football. Everybody seems to be pulling in the same direction. And yes, it's still early. We've only seen 3 games. But at the same time, you can see the progress. The Lions seem to be getting better every week. And Dan Campbell has them playing football the way he sees it. And through 3 games, they're 2-1. If you're looking for a sleeper pick, a dark horse, someone to come out of the NFC, maybe it's the Detroit Lions. Now, if you missed our post-game show, go back and check it out. It's always fun after a win. Also, it's worth noting that Jared Goff played well. He's starting to find his rhythm. The offensive line is playing well, which is critical. And that receiving corps, man, that's a talented group. And that defense, they're playing opportunistic football. So are the Lions back to being the Lions? Well, yes, they are. And this time it's a very good thing. You can tell that this team believes in what they're doing. They believe in each other. They believe in Dan Campbell. And Dan Campbell has them believing that they can win anywhere. And that's a scary proposition for the rest of the league. So yes, the Lions are back. This time it's real. They're legit. They're a playoff caliber team. And hopefully they stay healthy. Injuries can derail any team. But if they can stay healthy, I wouldn't be surprised if the Lions are hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at the end of this year. Now, here's the thing. Every week we break down the biggest stories in college football and the NFL. It's a lot of fun. We give you all the news you need to know in a fast-paced, entertaining way. And we do it with the greatest hosts in the game, Petros Papadakis and Matt Barnes. Plus, we bring in guests from all over the world of sports to discuss the latest and greatest. If you're a fan of this channel, then you'll love our podcast. Just search for us wherever you listen to podcasts or click the link in the description below. Let's finish this up. The Lions are 2-1, which is no surprise. Our staff predicted a 10-7 season. In closing, I'll leave you with this. There's always been something special about the Detroit Lions, even during the bad times. And now they're good and playing with swagger. If you don't believe me, then get ready to believe. Thanks for watching. Go to our website to get the latest news and analysis delivered right to your inbox. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell button so you get all our notifications.